Hello, I'm Father Robert, and I'm here with Father Jonathan Trebilco, and we are going to be talking about the book that he is going to be leading us on for about, 6-8 weeks, something like that. And Jonathan's going to be leading us with C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters. And so we're going to be asking Jonathan some questions about, a guilty conscience, maybe. So why don't you tell us, Jonathan, about C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters?
Well, C.S. Lewis is a renowned author of a lot of different literary genres, whether it's children's fantasy or Christian apologetics, science fiction. One day he gets this idea while he's in a Holy Communion service to...
Oh, no.
Yeah,
oh, no.
That's when the best ideas come. There or in the shower, and he gets this idea of writing, in a way that really illuminates aspects of the Christian faith, but from the perspective of the devil, as opposed to the perspective of an angel or a saint or God himself.
So basically, the devil's a stand-in for a bishop.
Yeah, once again, he said it, and it's remarkable. This was in 1940. And the book was published, I think, in 1942, and really nobody had ever done anything like this before. It's pretty unprecedented. And so it made huge waves. People were just astonished at the idea that somebody had composed this fictional correspondence from one devil to another. And it's one devil who's a senior, experienced devil writing to his protege, a younger devil who's just started to work on his quote-unquote patient, which is what he calls the human being that he's trying to lead down the path to destruction, and to help him to get it right and not make all the silly mistakes that other devils have. So through this means we learn a lot about human psychology and the theology of temptation and grace and so forth.
One of the things that I love about the Screwtape Letters is the whole conceit of talking about these categories of sin and grace and temptation from the perspective of one devil writing to another, and really kind of getting underneath the surface, and all the while doing this while kind of making it tongue-in-cheek funny. And I think that kind of takes the edge off of it so that it doesn't seem self-serious, and it doesn't seem like the church lady pointing her finger and talking about sin and stuff.
Yeah, on the one hand, he said, the book is like a negative. It's like seeing everything in the reverse. You're trading out all the blacks and whites, as it were, and you're just seeing the negative of a picture because you're looking at it from the perspective of the devil. God is called the enemy with a capital E. And he said it was the least enjoyable book he'd ever written. He had to think like a devil for, a couple of weeks. But at the same time, as you say, it is so full of humor. And it's full of humor because we see ourselves in the book. In fact, it's downright, he goes, as they say, from preaching to meddling. I mean, it hits home because we can see our own tendencies as we're reading what this devil says to another devil about how to lead, humans down the merry way.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is really important, I say this as a preacher, is that I talk about my sin and your grace. And I think, if you were to read a book that was so accusatory of people in their sins, they would just say, well, this is idiotic. I already know all of this stuff, and I don't need you to point them out to me.
Yes.
So I think the great conceit of this book really removes the anxiety about talking about the category of sin and also the category of redemption and grace.
Yes, it's really true. And he hits on very practical things. The things that you think devils would be interested in tempting us to do, or really are, that's not really where it's at. They're more interested in very mundane, everyday activities and attitudes of human beings, just to sort of lull us to sleep. For instance, in the preface to the book, Lewis says, there's two opposite errors we make about devils. One is to pay attention to them and think about them all the time and be morbid and fascinated with the occult. And the other is to disbelieve in their existence and reject them altogether. And he says that devils don't really care which route we take. Either way is good for them. They'll find something. And they're much more interested in getting us to think about going to eat lunch and not bothering with ideas like truth and God and our need.
Well, now hold on there about going out to lunch, because Father Robert does like to go out to lunch.
That's when they got you, you know?
well, I might have to read this book again too if devils are interested in me going to lunch. So when is this book starting?
We're going to start discussing it on October 5th.
Wonderful. And when
Wednesday mornings at
Wednesday morning at 10.
10
okay.
o'clock, yeah.
And that's going to go all the way up until I think right before Advent,
That's
right?
correct, yes. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have about 8 installments. And so, you know, people will have the chance to read as much of the book as they want. Hopefully they'll read all of it. Every letter is really short. It's only about a page and a half to a page and a quarter. But I'll be pulling out some key passages and key letters where I think the plot sort of turns, and we'll be having, I think, a great discussion about some of the great insights there. This is the book. I mean, C.S. Lewis made it to the cover of Time magazine, right? So,
Yeah.
and when he did, it was because he was the author of the Screwtape Letters, and it really was his most famous book, and one that he took probably the least amount of time to write.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're going to have a great time. You have a wonderful sense of humor, and I think this book brings out a lot of the absurdity of sin on some level,
Yeah.
and I think you're going to help us not only plumb the depths of our sin, but laugh at it through this book, and be able in some ways to develop a more acute conscience and discerning capacity for grace in our life.
Yeah, I think we not only see what the devils are up to in the sense of what is temptation about, what is it, what's their end game, what are they trying to do, but we also see because we see it in this weird negative light, this opposite light, we really see the splendor of God's grace and the difference in terms of what God wants to do with us, that He doesn't want to take us and destroy who we are, but rather make us who we are supposed to be, and we'll become our real selves. And the devils hate that. They don't want that.
Yeah.
And we think we do, but
Yeah.
we're going about it the wrong way. So I think it really hits home.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this,
Thank you. I'm
Jonathan.
looking forward to it.
And I am as well. So thank you all for watching this video. And I hope to see you all on Wednesday mornings at 10 o'clock coming to Jonathan's class on C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters. Thank you very much.